Many people say that the most important thing a kid can learn in school is how to read. But third graders in Indiana are having a hard time doing that. Now, we don't know much, but what we do know is that 3 people were found dead inside an SUV outside of this elementary school, and IMPD says a 4th intoxicated person was also found. All of these generous donations to the community of Whiteland truly has them overwhelmed, which is why they have set up distribution centers like this one at Heaven Earth Church, and they put it right here because of its location. It's right in between 2 of the hardest hit areas. People from all across Johnson County came here to Whiteland today to help their fellow Hoosiers pick up the pieces after this awful tornado ripped through the community. And along with that, you mentioned the power outages. Power crews, you can see them right here. They have been here since we got here this morning. He did not address it when it came to voters, when it came to his speech that he was communicating with voters. It was an economic message. He said he is the only candidate currently on the Republican ticket that has a plan to address inflation. The science of reading is broken down into 5 pillars: phonics, phonemic awareness, vocabulary, comprehension, and fluency. Many of the businesses here at City Market have been operating for decades, but come March next year, they have to leave. And many of these vendors feel the city didn't give them enough of a heads up. Construction projects are everywhere in the city of Indianapolis, and businesses are feeling the pinch. The Sandwich Shop here in Hallville is the latest business to have their bottom line impacted by delayed construction projects. This is the Salvation Army's mobile disaster unit. They're currently on the ground in Whiteland providing services, food and water to people who are still recovering from the tornado.
It's difficult because a lot of the times it takes a couple days to actually see who's all affected.
As cleanup from the EF3 tornado continues in Whiteland, the Salvation Army is driving through the community several times a day, simply asking people what they need.
Coffee or drinks or anything? I'll take some coffee. People who simply lose power, lose all their food. And, we're 4 days into it and we still have people without power. And so they need necessities.
Some of those needs by those affected are still being assessed.
Right now we're down all of our vehicles. It's just been, I still don't even know what's lost.
Michael Thomas has helped recovery efforts following several tornadoes throughout his time with the Salvation Army. He says this situation in Indiana is different because of how many areas in the state have been impacted.
It's hit so many places throughout Indiana. And so it's kind of spread resources thin. We've done well because we've been able to work with the other agencies to get the resources that we need. But the biggest challenge is just the multiple tornadoes.
The Salvation Army will be on the ground here in Whiteland until further notice. If you need their assistance, they urge you to call the number on your screen. In Whiteland, Meredith Hackler, WRTV.
Thanks for calling All Options. This is Jess. How may I help you?
It's just a normal day of the week at the All Resources Pregnancy Center in Bloomington.
Okay, which Planned Parenthood are you going to?
Jessica Marchbank is fielding phone calls from people seeking help in paying for their abortion.
I don't want you to be worrying like whether or not you'll get any funding. You will get some, but I won't be able to tell you how much until I look at your application.
She runs the Hoosier Abortion Fund, which has been in existence since 2015.
A busy week for the fund would have looked like 30 applications, 30 people leaving voicemails and saying, I need funding. And now we're averaging 90 to 100 every week.
That increase in call volume has been taking place ever since Roe v. Wade was overturned. All Options Pregnancy Resource Center expects those calls to continue increasing, along with the funding they're providing to women in need of abortions.
I will text you a link to our application.
The Resource Center says in April of this year, they pledged $19,000, which helped fund just over 100 abortions. Last month, they pledged $90,000 to 370 people.
I talk to people every single day who say, I cannot afford to have another baby, either because of my health or because I can't afford the children that I already have. but I also can't afford to have an abortion or I can't find a way to get to Illinois. And the ban that our lawmakers have insisted upon is going to place so many families under undue burden.
Across state lines in Illinois, abortion providers like Planned Parenthood have already been seeing more out-of-state patients. They've increased the number of clinics they have and the amount of staff they've hired. How big of an increase have you seen?
Overall, over the past 2 months since the decision, about 30% of all of the abortion patients that we see at PPIL come from a state outside of Illinois. And that's compared to prior to the decision, it was around like 6% every month.
Projections from Planned Parenthood predict that they will see around 20 to 30,000 more abortion patients every year. That's on top of what they already handle. They expect to see more people seeking them for medical and sometimes life-saving reasons as well.
We have patients who are sitting in an emergency room with an ectopic pregnancy for hours while their doctor is consulting with the hospital's lawyers about whether or not they can give care to that patient.
Back in Indiana, Jessica Marchbank plans to continue helping women seeking abortions, no matter what happens.
They have really underestimated the dire economic consequences of the choices they've made. And the people of Indiana are going to suffer, and that is on our lawmakers.
From banning dedicated lanes for bus transit to parents who are concerned about the future of their medically complex children, the State House was a busy place this week, and some controversial legislation will be moving forward. Senator Aaron Freeman is continuing his effort to stop the Indigo Blue Line from having dedicated lanes. The $240 million project would connect the east side of Indy to the airport and provide infrastructure updates to Washington Street. Senator Freeman amended the bill this week. He also has targeted the city of Indianapolis's decision to add no turn on red signs across the city. He wanted to require the city to take those signs down, but has now come to a compromise that will allow the city to keep them up.
We're going to study this issue exactly like we're going to do in Senate Bill 52, and no further signs would be put up until at least July 1 of 2025 to allow a study to be done.
The dedicated bus lane bill will likely pass out of the Senate next week, where it will head to the House. The Speaker avoided direct questions on if the proposal will have support. Parents of kids with disabilities and critical illnesses rallied at the State House this week to protest proposed cuts from the Family and Social Services Administration. These parents take advantage of the aged and disabled waiver. They're able to care for their children full-time by taking training and receiving an income to do so. A $1 billion shortfall has caused FSSA to propose cuts to the program, something these parents say will be devastating.
I just encourage them to really look at the impact that they're going to make on our families, because we don't have any other option. There's no nurses that can come. We don't have family and friends that can come care for our children so that we can work to provide for them.
They plan on being at the State House throughout session. This topic could be addressed next week. Another bill on the docket for next week includes the Green Alert Bill. That would establish a special alert to be sent to your phone to help find missing at-risk veterans. It would be similar to a Silver Alert, but for veterans only. There's a committee hearing for this proposal next week. Meredith Hackler, WRTV.